90 miles north of San Francisco, beneath the largest natural lake in California, the ground has been shaking for 7 straight days. Not dramatically, not with the force that makes headlines or triggers emergency alerts. The earthquakes beneath Clear Lake, California have been small, most below magnitude 2, the largest reaching 2.2. But there have been 262 of them in the past 7 days alone. And what makes 262 small earthquakes beneath a quiet Northern California lake significant? What makes the timing of this swarm one of the most concerning geological coincidences currently active in the United States is what is sitting beneath the lake waiting to be woken up. Clear Lake is not just a lake. It sits above one of the most geologically active volcanic systems in California, in a region the USGS rates as high threat potential, the same threat classification as Long Valley Caldera, and the same tier that puts it above hundreds of other volcanic systems in the country. The magma chamber that fed its last eruption is not gone. It has not cooled. It exists right now, confirmed by seismic data and heat measurements at depth beneath the lake and the surrounding hills. And the last time it erupted in the lake itself, a phreatomagmatic explosion, the most violent category of volcanic eruption, where magma meets water and the resulting steam flash converts an ordinary eruption into something resembling an atomic detonation in geological slow motion. The USGS's own hazard summary for Clear Lake states it plainly. Intermittent seismic activity and the presence of heat at depth indicate that the system is still active and eruptions are likely. Eruptions are likely. That sentence is on the federal agency's own website about a volcanic system 90 miles from San Francisco. And the system has been producing 262 earthquakes in the past week. To understand why Clear Lake is relevant right now, not just as a long-term geological curiosity, but as an active concern in July 2026, you need to understand 3 things. What the system is, what is happening inside it, and what arrived there 2 weeks ago from 3,000 miles away. Clear Lake Volcanic Field occupies roughly 800 square kilometers of Lake County in Northern California, about 90 miles north of San Francisco. It has been volcanically active for approximately 2.1 million years. The most recent eruptions occurred between 8,500 and 13,500 years ago, geologically recent, well within the time frame that makes a volcanic system capable of future activity by any scientific standard. The volcanic history of the field includes basaltic lava flows, rhyolitic domes, and explosive phreatomagmatic eruptions in and around the lake itself. The USGS notes that the period between 60,000 and 10,000 years ago was particularly active, averaging 1 eruption every 1,800 years. The current lull has now extended to approximately 10,000 years. By the historical recurrence interval, the system is not in a permanently quiet phase. It is in a long pause. What makes Clear Lake scientifically distinctive, and what connects it to the broader California hazard picture, is the geothermal system that sits at its southwestern margin. The Geysers, located in the hills southwest of Clear Lake, is the largest geothermal power generating complex in the world. It produces enough electricity to power 850,000 homes and draws its energy from a zone of partially molten rock deep beneath the greater Clear Lake volcanic system. The Geysers is not just a power plant. It is direct evidence that the heat source driving Clear Lake's volcanic field is still active, still present, and still capable of maintaining the temperatures required to sustain a world-scale geothermal operation above it. The heat that drives the turbines at the Geysers comes from the same magmatic system that drove the eruptions in Clear Lake's geological past. The Geysers introduces a complication that makes interpreting earthquake swarms at Clear Lake more difficult than at most volcanic systems. Water injection into the geothermal reservoir generates induced seismicity, hundreds of small earthquakes per month as a direct result of operations. The USGS California Volcano Observatory accounts for this in its weekly updates, separating geysers-induced seismicity from volcanic earthquakes in the broader Clear Lake field. The current swarm, 262 earthquakes in 7 days, distributed across the Clear Lake field itself rather than concentrated in the geysers' operational zone, is not primarily attributable to geothermal injection. It is distributed across a broader area, at depths consistent with tectonic and potentially volcanic origin. Sporadic volcanic-type earthquakes do occur at Clear Lake, shallow, small magnitude, swarm-like. The USGS has documented this pattern for decades. Most swarms at Clear Lake are short-lived and subside without consequence. But the scientific literature on volcanic systems worldwide is consistent on one point. The best early warning signal for volcanic unrest is exactly the kind of shallow, swarm-like seismicity that Clear Lake is currently producing. The question is never whether a swarm is unusual in isolation. The question is whether it is unusual in context. And the context in July 2026 is unusual. On June 24, 2026, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake ruptured the Caribbean plate boundary off the coast of Venezuela. The surface waves generated by that rupture traveled outward from the Caribbean at the speed of seismic propagation through the Earth's crust, covering thousands of kilometers in minutes and circling the globe multiple times before dissipating. Northern California is approximately 4,800 kilometers from the Venezuela doublet epicenter. Surface waves from a magnitude 7.5 strike-slip earthquake at that distance arrive with amplitudes measurable by any sensitive seismometer, and Clear Lake's monitoring network detected them. Dynamic stress triggering, where passing seismic waves alter the stress state on a fault or volcanic system, has been documented at California volcanic centers after previous major earthquakes. The Global Volcanism Program records show that a magnitude 7.5 Southern California earthquake in 1992 triggered seismicity at multiple California volcanic centers, with 50 small events appearing at the Geysers within 24 hours. The mechanism is identical to what arrived from Venezuela: surface waves passing through a thermally active system, providing a small additional stress impulse to a field already producing intermittent earthquakes. Stop for a moment. A magnitude 7.5 in 1992 triggered seismicity at the Geysers. A magnitude 7.5 struck in Venezuela on June 24, 2026. The Clear Lake field has been producing 262 earthquakes in the week following that event. The causal relationship is not confirmed, but the historical precedent for exactly this kind of response at exactly this location to exactly this kind of distant major earthquake is documented in the scientific literature. The timing gets worse. The San Andreas fault system runs within 60 kilometers of Clear Lake at its closest approach. The Healdsburg-Rogers Creek fault passes even closer. Both are at their most stressed levels in recorded history, according to the June 2026 Burkhardt study. The volcanic system and the fault system share the same crust. When stress changes on one, the other is affected. The scenario USGS hazard planners consider for Clear Lake involves a future eruption beginning with heightened earthquake activity, exactly what is happening now, followed by magma ascending toward the surface, either at the lake's margins or within the lake itself. A phreatomagmatic eruption in Clear Lake would inject ash into the atmosphere, produce wave hazards on the lake's shores, and send ashfall across surrounding communities of Clear Lake, Kelseyville, Lakeport, and Lucerne, roughly 50,000 people in the direct impact zone, with the Bay Area's 7.7 million residents within ash dispersal range, depending on wind direction. This scenario is not imminent. The USGS current assessment classifies Clear Lake at normal background unrest, no alert level elevation, no indication of imminent eruption. The 262 earthquakes in the past week are within the range of swarm activity the system has produced before. The Calvio weekly update from July 7th describes the field as showing normal background levels. The broader swarm that real-time data captures extends beyond the Calvio report window and represents a system that is seismically busier than its long-term average right now. What the current moment represents is not a crisis, it is a convergence. A volcanic field with confirmed active magma at depth rated high threat potential, producing earthquake swarms at elevated rates in a region where fault systems are at their most stressed levels in a millennium, 2 weeks after the largest Caribbean earthquake in 125 years sent surface waves directly through the system. Individually, each element is manageable. Volcanic fields produce swarms. Fault systems accumulate stress. Large distant earthquakes send surface waves through California all the time. Most convergences like this resolve without incident, but most is not all. And the USGS's own words about Clear Lake deserve to be read carefully. The system is still active, and eruptions are likely. Future eruptions will be signaled by heightened earthquake activity. That signal, heightened earthquake activity, is exactly what is occurring right now, in a week when surrounding fault systems are more stressed than at any point in recorded history. 2 weeks after a magnitude 7.5 earthquake sent energy through this system from 3,000 miles away. The timing could not be worse. That does not mean the outcome will be the worst. It means the conditions for it are more closely aligned than they have been in a very long time. Subscribe to Seismic Alert. We will keep watching what moves beneath the lake.